Hi, Rich Evans.
What?
Did you see the new Beetlejuice movie?
No, I didn't.
There's a character in it called the Soul Sucker.
Uh-huh.
And she smooches on people and sucks their souls out, and they get, like, deflated.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what you look like.
You wouldn't believe how accurate that statement is. You wouldn't believe how accurate that statement is.
Do you remember this?
Oh, I know what the fate of the plate is, Mike.
Yeah, so for those of you who don't remember, the fate of the plate is, I have this lovely commemorative plate with the 4 Star Trek Enterprises on it, except for the NX-01, but this might have been made before that, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, that looks like it was made when I'm assuming when the movies were coming out. Yeah.
99.
And Enterprise is what?
01.
01?
Yeah, so this was actually made, before the Enterprise show came out, the Scott Bakula show. But we had this plate, and we were saying Star Trek Picard Season 3, the fate of the plate was whether or not we were going to smash this, or I was going to make you eat food off of it, even though it says do not eat food off this.
That is so unbelievably clear. It jumps off the screen.
Not for food use.
It specifically mentions carcinogens, right?
Food consumed from this plate may be harmful and contain dangerous carcinogens. This is a decorative accessory only. Repeat, do not eat food off this plate.
Is it in bold red?
Yeah, the Surgeon General's warning. And so I said, if we're happy with the results of Star Trek Picard Season 3, you're going to eat food off this plate. And so I, once again, bring the fate of the plate back into play. And with the results of Star Trek's Section 31, the movie, the fate of the plate is, again, its fate is in balance.
Oh, I think the fate has been determined, Mike.
Let's head to the lounge. Man, they're moving fast. Mally's coming to you. Yikes.
So lame.
Yikes. Which is funny because that's how the film begins, with the word
why?
fate.
What did fate have to do with anything? What a pretentious just load of shit. Fate. Fate is the sword we forge. Or fate, the sword of fate has been forged by fate.
That's New
because
Trek.
The fate of the sword is forgery.
New Trek is lofty words. Destiny,
But
fate.
How did that resonate with the story we were presented with?
Doesn't matter. It's all smoke and mirrors.
What does that mean?
I could respond to that, or I could observe my feelings right now, lock it away, and do what I need to do. Or...
Quas, pick one.
Yes.
Sometimes Quasi sees so many options.
What's happening?
He gets brain
So many
freeze.
cuts.
Thank you, Mel.
Quasi, can we carry on, please?
Yeah, they're just trying to salvage whatever they have
Our
here.
target's name is
You're
Dotted
watching
Now.
a 1990s sci-fi original with an insane budget.
I often find enjoyment in reading negative reviews of shows. This I'll find enjoyment in reading positive reviews.
I mean, there's going to be a lot of shills, AI-generated content by the studio.
Let me read this comment. This feels like it was generated by an AI.
It probably was.
I went into this as a Star Trek fan looking for that Star Trek feeling. Instead, I found a Star Trek that I need more of. Section 31 is not your be nice people, but it shows that for all that Jim Kirk make-believe, there is a cost.
What?
That cost was they also had people who had to do what unofficially the Federation could not be attached to. These are the ones who did the dark and dirty work for the Federation. So yeah, that sounds like an AI describing the show based on... Well, here's the thing. here's the backstory with this.
Yeah.
I feel like, I don't know, kind of indifferent. I'm not outraged. I don't, I'm like you.
I'm beyond that.
Yeah.
I think honestly for me, the franchise is dead.
Yes.
I've hit that point.
I feel sort of hopeful because this, like, Discovery went on for, I think, 5 seasons, and Strange New Worlds, I think, is in production of a 3rd season. I'm not really sure. I kind of stopped watching those shows, and I often wonder who watches them and who is it for? It has to be a very small number of people. And is Star Trek on Paramount operating at like a loss? It has to be.
I have no idea how they figure out what this is worth because it's on a streaming service, and are people watching this? Are they watching other things?
Right. The magic of this is that it's a self-contained movie, and a lot of times when these new shows come out, they'll send out the first like 2 or 3 episodes of screeners to critics. And then the critics will watch those and they'll be like, oh, okay, this isn't bad. And they'll give it a good review, and then it'll like fall off a cliff after the 2nd or the 3rd, 4th episode and get trash and become terrible. But the unique scenario is that it's a open and closed kind of thing where it has a beginning, a middle, and end that you can critique on its own. You don't have to, and which is a blessing for us, because if this was a season,
I'd kill myself.
yeah, I wouldn't do this if this was a season. And that's why we didn't do Discovery Season 3 when they traveled to the future, Season 4, Season 5. I just don't care. I don't want to, like, we sat there with the Red Angel crap for like 10 and I'm just like, we're just like, what is the Red Angel? I just don't give a fuck. I don't like these season-long arc mysteries that all just end up in super weapon. Revenge or super weapon. That's it.
Since then, he's been designing bioweapons on spec.
No's on his way to the Baram to sell his latest creation to the Minotian High Council. There are no formal hostilities with the Minotian Sway, but that could change if they get their hands on a super weapon.
Oh, super weapon! They actually called it a super weapon.
That's the extent of the storytelling ability of these people. And what did this have?
Well, revenge, super weapon, and emotional crap.
Emotional.
Fate. Unearned emotional crap.
Yeah.
It's a redemption story. It's about second chances, and it's an action movie.
Glossy, slapped on emotional crap that has no depth.
Yeah.
And super weapon and revenge. And that's like, I'm not watching 10 episodes of that. I don't have that much time.
This is like a Discovery season speed run.
Yeah, that's great. It's condensed. Yeah. All the crap in 90 minutes. It was beautiful, and that's why we did this. Because, we're done with Star Trek. To me, it's dead.
Yes.
But the fact that this could come out, and I was watching the critic ratings just drop, and I was screen grabbing every time it dropped. And the fact that is a thing you could point to and go, huh? Alex Kurtzman, look.
We would love to do more, and we would love to tell stories. Part of what's fun about changing the length of a story is that it's an interesting challenge from a creative perspective, because you get to live more deeply in certain things you don't always have time for. And you get to explore corners of storytelling that you don't always have time for in shorter form stories. But, to me, the length of the story needs to, a story or a movie or a TV show is always dictated by what story you're telling. Some stories are served better by being longer, and some are served better by being shorter. So it's one of those things where the story ultimately tells you what it needs.
Just about everything he's produced for Star Trek has been awful and panned, and it hasn't stopped them from just, here's an extension, here's more money. Take all of the money and do nothing with it.
Well, that's the thing.
Alex Kurtzman.
It's been awful and panned by like old school Trek guys like us, but the initial, like I said, the couple first episodes that get critic screened usually get decent reviews. I bet you if I pull up some of the Rotten Tomatoes stuff or reviews early on, they get positive reviews. And a lot of the reviewers are just like not really super into Star Trek. And then they invite the shills.
It's such a pleasure to meet the both of you. This movie is so much fun.
Congratulations on the film. I've seen it. It's so much fun.
I saw it. I actually watched it 3 times. It is very fun.
The I don't know, social media people, the influencers who are just like we love Star Trek. It's great.
Do those people even exist? I haven't seen anything.
They exist because they've created a persona to show up at screenings and get clicks on social media I've seen a couple of shills appear. This is, it's not your father's Star Trek, but this has a whole new fresh angle, and they just regurgitate like things that will get them invited to the next premiere.
I mean, they don't even need shills anymore because they can just have AI-generated influencers. I mean,
they need AI working overtime to change these numbers. But
you put that AI to work on the script.
Sure, I'll take it.
I mean, I'll take AI over Alex Kurtzman. And AI might have like a basic understanding of creating just like likable characters.
It's important to us to make sure that each Star Trek show or movie really is its own flavor, has its own unique tone, so that you can tell the difference between one and the other. And I think this one's interesting because it carries the weight of a certain kind of understanding of what Section 31 is by fans.
Now, let's cut the shit.
Now see, Alex Kurtzman didn't write this. A bunch of
This feels like every other Alex Kurtzman produced Star Trek show. I can't believe.
Yeah. His thumb is on the scale, that's for sure, when it comes to like what's going on, but there are credited writers. There's 3 of them that have written Discovery episodes, and there's whatever, random TV crap. And, the director was just a guy who's directed hundreds of episodes of Discovery. He's just like action kind of guy, which is why we talked about how they spruced this up in post-production to include lots of snap zooms and digital effects to kind of give it more energy.
Elton, I'm gonna say never laugh. She's got.
As soon as I said it. Man, they're moving.
Aren't you coming? While the others made its sneak back in.
Where? It's actually 5.
Why is the tractor being there?
Incoming torpedo.
And? Fine, double deal, son of a bitch. Yikes.
We think they were going for a Guardians of the Galaxy, Borderlands, Rebel Moon, kind of like that I guess Suicide Squad, that kind of like the ragtag group of kind of like chaotic neutral characters.
Funny misfits who were slightly morally ambiguous.
But somehow find the right thing at the end. And and also based on the art choices of the poster and some of the graphics. I don't know why you would ape off Borderlands. Maybe they started doing it before that movie came out. Like, whoops.
I mean, they started a while ago. Alex Kurtzman has been threatening us with Section 31 for like a decade now, right?
It started as a series, and we got fairly far down the road, and then COVID hit.
Since Discovery?
I'm trying to remember when it started. I mean, it didn't start in Discovery. It started in Deep Space Nine, of course, when it was very subtle and very,
For a long time now, he has thought that Space Hitler was going to be the next big thing. I mean, it's not. Am I wrong?
I don't know.
He loves this terrible character.
Does anyone love this character?
I don't think so.
See, I liked when William Sadler was on Deep Space Nine as, who I thought died recently. I always tell Jay, I swear to God, I heard that do you know who William Sadler is?
Yeah.
I thought he died. Maybe I dreamt it. And I remember my brain thought, oh, well, that would have been cool if he showed up in this Section 31 TV show.
I mean, he is the Grim Reaper.
I know. Maybe that's what made me think of it.
That's what I'm thinking.
But I was like, wouldn't it have been cool if William Sadler showed up somehow in Section 31, whether through a time vortex or whatever. But then I was like, oh, it's a shame he died. But he's not dead. But he was the original Section 31 guy. We didn't see anybody else, no teams. He would just show up and he would like harass Julian Bashir to kind of like go on operations because he recognized he was smart and he could work for them.
Section 31 has an assignment for you.
Section 31 existed to test the ethics of Julian Bashir.
Sure, yeah.
Section 31 served a purpose in the story of Deep Space Nine, and they were villainous.
The worst that Section 31 did was they tricked a good-hearted Romulan senator into taking the fall for a genetics weapon that was going to be unleashed, and they had to stop it.
Yeah.
It was a simple plot. They went to Romulus, and you know, there's some, it's a little cloak and dagger kind of fun stuff, you know. Then in Discovery, Phillip Georgo, aka Michelle Yeoh, was the lovely captain of the USS Shengie. And then she died, and she was Michael Burnham's like mentor, hero, and whatever, captain. And then she discovers that she's in the Mirror universe as the Empress of the Terran Umpire.
Yes.
It's like, oh, okay, that's a fun little twist. You know,
Yeah.
it's really nice, you know, benevolent captain that Michelle Burnham, Michael Burnham, whatever the fuck her name was, likes her. Here she's an evil Empress, and then they just like
irredeemably evil.
It's a redemption story. It's about second chances.
Then they just went off the rails, and it's just like she was the worst thing ever. And then people are like, oh, we like Michelle Yeoh. She's kind of fun in that role. And then Alex Kurtzman was like, well, what? And it's like, no. They don't really like her. It's like I like Emperor Palpatine, you know, because he's fun. Yeah. But I don't want to see him like join a team.
Section 66.
Section 60. I don't want to see him like fighting with somebody and like having an emotional moment where he's hugging people. It's just like irredeemable Hitler, right?
It would be fun.
So I guess I'm coming back to the point where it's a good thing that this is getting bad reviews. It's a good thing for, I don't know, whatever potential future is left.
It's not going to make a difference.
It's on life support.
Bad reviews and bad shows have never made a difference before. I see no reason anything is going to change. Whatever kind of dirt Alex Kurtzman has on the executives in Hollywood, he still has it. He's going to continue to work until we're all dead. And he's going to outlive us because there is no justice in this universe.
My happiness comes from the fact that the curtain has been pulled back and we see the full extent of the audience and critical reactions to a fully complete Star Trek, New Trek product, which we never really have before. It's always been kind of mysterious. I always thought, who's watching this and why?
I think you're wrong about the curtain being pulled back. Curtain's been pulled back for a while. Curtain's been pulled back for a while.
Has it?
Nobody cares. Nobody cares.
So when it comes to Paramount Plus operating a business, does having the Star Trek brand name, other than the previous series, maybe they're operating on that alone, but who is watching Star Trek Discovery Season 5?
I don't know. I have never known.
And what are the numbers?
I don't know. I have never known, but they've been making this shit for 10 years. It hasn't stopped. Nobody has taken a hint. I have no reason to believe that anything is going to change now. None. No reason. No reason to believe anything will change.
Well, that was Section 31, like you said, was in a long-term production. I think it was we had to slap this together. I was supposed to be a series, and I think when they teased it in Discovery, they had a different spaceship and a different crew, right? There were different characters.
I don't really remember. Wasn't she with what's-his-face who was surgically
that
transformed
guy.
into a Klingon, or always was a Klingon, or
Yes, it was him and some other characters. I don't know who else. But that was supposed to be the spin-off, and then I don't know, whatever happened, COVID? I have no idea. And then it got delayed, and then finally it started to go into production, and then Michelle Yeoh won an Oscar, and she said, I'm not doing this anymore.
And then Michelle won an Oscar, and that changed everything too.
Unless you pay me a whole lot more money, because that little golden statue comes with some...
you get some perks.
Some perks. And interestingly enough, for some reason, Jamie Lee Curtis is in Section 31, the movie.
Oh, God.
This is embarrassing.
This is embarrassing,
It's been screaming at me for 2 days now. It keeps saying that you lot are gonna cost me my job.
We might. She might.
I told my judgment to shut up.
And in a voiceover role at the start, and then she's a hologram at the end, presumably like the head of Section 31 or someone.
Is she just supposed to be like the holographic doctor? Because she glitches out at some point at the end of that.
No, she's like, it's like a transmission. She's
But she glitches out and she like changes position suddenly.
That's just a different take. She filmed it herself, like against her bathroom wall.
Are you sure she's not supposed to be like an AI character?
Maybe. I don't know. The point is, Jamie Lee Curtis is in it, which is interesting because she was also in Borderlands, which was a mega flop.
Yes.
They're trying to mold this kind of dark, spy, cloak and dagger kind of mystery show into something wacky and fun, which is why...
It's Suicide Squad. Look at all these wacky characters we have.
Jamie Lee Curtis was also in a movie called Everything Everywhere All at Once with Michelle Yeoh, the movie she won an Oscar for.
Mm-hmm.
So, what? I had a theory.
Yeah. It was the funniest laugh I had in the screening.
Why was Jamie Lee Curtis in this?
Because they were friends from that movie.
I guess, yeah. They were both in Everything Everywhere All at Once.
They're burning money, Jamie. Come on. I'll put it a good word for you.
Let's rip off these suckers. Oh, we still can.
If there's one word I could use to sum it all up, it would be fun.
Let's talk about Section 31, because what do we get? What are we supposed to get out of Section 31? It's supposed to be a fun adventure about an evil secret organization and Space Hitler. Like, tone-wise, I'm very confused about Section 31.
Section 31 is the group that does the dirty work that Starfleet won't.
Is it supposed to be funny?
Oh, are you asking me?
Yes.
Did you laugh?
No.
There's the Cameloid, a green-blooded shapeshifter, trying to muster sexy time with a Delta.
Is that the guy who hosts the Buff Boys competition?
Sam Richardson.
Except Cameloids are the only species in the galaxy immune to Delta's sexy time charm. Then there's the guy with all the high-end mech, standing at the back, looking like he has
But I think they were making jokes.
Yeah, it's supposed to be funny. I think it's supposed to be clever and witty.
But okay, so you have the fun group with our lovable characters and something that's supposed to be adventurous and funny. Do you vaporize one of our fun characters in the beginning of the second act, usually in a fun adventure thing?
Well, it's not a comedy. There have to be some dark moments.
But they're making jokes constantly, even though the jokes aren't funny. They're wacky characters, Mike. Don't you know how wacky and zany they are?
Yeah, hi. Quick question. Sorry. Yeah, no, it's just a quick one. Is it Godsend or God's End? Godsend or God's End?
I don't hear a difference in what you're saying.
Really? Really? Godsend? God's End?
Yeah, I'm still not getting it.
The godsend
Wait,
is...
Godsend. I hear it now. It's Godsend.
Oh my God.
It's funny, Rich. It's just like Guardians of the Galaxy.
I don't know, but that man had it.
Rich, when a group of misfits...
There's a man who identifies as a robot, and he's constantly wearing a robot suit. And then there's the wacky Vulcan, who isn't really a Vulcan.
He's controlled by a micropenis.
And then there's...
inside his brain.
Then there's Space Hitler.
Yeah, Space Hitler, sure.
And then there's a shapeshifter. He's there. I think he's supposed to be funny. He's saying lines that I think are supposed to be comedy lines, but they're not funny.
But then the other characters are pretty straight.
Rachel Garrett.
Rachel Garrett.
Okay, let's talk about Rachel Garrett. Is in this a young Rachel Garrett?
Right.
But, like, this is before Kirk took over the Enterprise, and Rachel Garrett isn't, like, a thing until the Enterprise C, which is probably, like, 60 years after this? 70 years after this? And she's 40 when we see her. I don't think Rachel Garrett should even be born yet. So she should be 100 years old as we see her in yesterday's Enterprise.
Yeah.
But she's only like, I don't know, 40.
Right, sure.
Late
sure.
30s.
Yeah.
Then.
Right. Well, okay. They do show the star date at the beginning of this, right?
Uh-huh.
And I want to say the star date was like 12389 something. The star dates in TNG were always like 4s.
Captain's log, stardate 41153.7.
But that still wouldn't make sense.
First officer's log, stardate 1207.3. On Earth, it's May 11th, 2256, a Sunday.
Captain's log, stardate 1312.4.
Discovery took place, I don't know how many years before TOS. Not too long because
Not
the
too
Enterprise
long.
shows up.
Not too
with
long.
Pike on it and Spock.
But it
and
is
all that.
before, it is in relation to the next gen, this is like at least 100 years in the past. At least.
I don't know, Rich. But when you boil it down, what do you get out of this?
Nothing. You get this is zero. This is 0 calories. This is Star Trek Zero.
A redemption story in the form of a space western.
What about the action?
What about it?
There's some fighting.
Yeah, it's really bad.
Oh.
Oof. Oof. This looks like Frankie Frico.
This looks like Attack of the Clones. Oh. What about the MacGuffin is also the super weapon. So you got a super weapon.
There's always a super weapon, Mike.
It's the weapon to all end all
This is
weapons.
the end-all weapon ender, because this one, once you detonate this one, it blows up all of the planets.
It blows up
just
everything.
all of the planets.
Just existence.
Like a virus, it just burns everything in existence.
I said it's like the Solaronite bomb from Plan 9 from outer space. It's just anything that has light just explodes.
The only explosion left is the solarite.
But this doesn't even need the light. It's just everything just explodes.
What is the power source of that?
It's a super weapon.
You see? You see? Your stupid minds. Stupid. Stupid.
Now, another easy plug-in plot device is revenge.
Mm-hmm.
Was there revenge in this film?
Oh, yes, there was revenge.
Explain that.
Apparently, in the Terran Umpire, in the mirror universe, they have Hunger Games to find out who gets to become the Emperor, because that's what you want to do. You don't want to have like a proper line of succession. You want to have teenagers fight each other, and then the teenager that kills all of the other teenagers, and then their family gets to become Emperor or Empress. But I guess they still call her Emperor? I don't know.
Gender's a construct. Listen.
But she doesn't kill her best friend. She just makes him her slave.
Right. And marks him with a hot sword.
Sears his face with a sword after murdering her own family. You know, this is before she goes on to eat people. And then she has a super weapon made.
So, and the super weapon is a just-in-case kind of device?
It's a just in case somebody tries to overthrow her. Even though I guess they still have Hunger Games with teenagers, she's still worried about being overthrown. So she has a super weapon built that if she dies, it will literally kill everything.
Okay. I mean, that's a good backup, you know.
And so her friend, who is a slave now...
Like, I wish I had one of those. Like, I lose big in Vegas, I just activate that super weapon, and that's it. You know, I lost. Everyone else is gonna too.
So her slave / former friend / love interest is so horrified about the super weapon that Michelle Yeoh builds, he kills himself with poison that poisoned her family. But he didn't really kill himself. He's still alive. And then for some reason, the super weapon is in the not mirror universe.
Because that weird guy with the face, shit all over his face.
And the weird guy
took
with the and then Section 31 shows up at Michelle Yeoh's nightclub.
Here's the thing:
Because
guy who got his face burnt with her sword, who took small doses of the poison to build up a resistance to fake his own death, guy with the super weapon. I took poison to the known universe, knowing that Section 31 would kick her, go to Michelle Yeoh for help because she's the
Most
biggest
of the time, he wasn't trying to kill her. He was
all
just trying
time,
to get the
baby.
super weapon. Oh, is that what it was?
Take it back. He knows she wanted it. It was a lure.
Why is he trying to steal the weapon
It wasn't about
after
the
he
super
finds her? He
weapon.
could have just.
To
Oh, is
him,
that
it
what it was?
He tried, but
Couldn't
he
he just
couldn't.
detonate the super
So he wanted to
weapon
lure
and
her back to his
then she
spaceship
died
so he
with
could
everything else?
have an epic conclusion and fight her again. No, because you have to be by that conflux of ion storms that create a portal.
Oh, a space hole.
A space hole.
The space hole.
Yeah, to the other.
This series, this iteration of Alex Kurtzman's treks formally necessitated space hole because they all have to have a space hole.
And a laser that shoots up into the sky. There
And
was
a
a
super
very brief laser that shot up into the sky when the robot man who was being controlled by the micro penis inside the brain of the robot man turned on the laser to alert burned face sword man of their whereabouts so he could bring his big weird spaceship and beam up Vulcan guy who was the traitor. You remember this?
Yeah, I remember. Oh God, this. Oh.
Now it's all leading to a point where it's really about fate and it's about love. Because those two, when they were teenagers in the Hunger Games, they trusted each other and loved each other until she betrayed him. But she wanted to tell him now that she's sorry about that. So she tried to hug him and he's like, no, I'm going to kill you. I'm going to stab this sword through your cheek. And then she accidentally cuts his throat, and then he says, you know, I forgive you for your past indiscretions and violence and, you know, eating people and eyeballs and such.
This is it's so childish. I would have written this exact same script when I was 11. That's not even a joke. I would have come up with this idea when I was 11, and I would have thought it was really cool.
When you're 12, you're
and
like,
sophisticated and
"Ooh,
deep.
What I wrote when I was 11 is really bad.
Yeah.
But
when I was
some rewrites.
When I was 11, like Paramount didn't give me $400 million to make my stupid ideas.
Now, are you trying to say Alex Kurtzman has the intellect of an 11-year-old?
No.
That's not what you're saying.
No, people doctored up the script a bit. He has the intellect of an 8-year-old.
Oh, snap.
That vision of the future, that optimistic utopia, isn't possible without people operating in the shadows to make it possible.
I don't know.
My question is, who likes these dark and gritty, trying to be funny?
But it's also silly. It's not dark and gritty, but it is dark and gritty. Pick one.
I was going to say trying to be funny, kind of like ragtag. That's the term we'll use, ragtag. That's when they say when dark, gritty, but also kind of funny and likable is ragtag. Like that's how you say that in the biz, Rich.
Pick a tone, and if you're gonna rip off Guardians of the Galaxy, don't just make the characters wacky. Recognize that those characters have some amount of heart, and I care about what happens to those characters.
See, here's the thing with the
I know Rocket Raccoon has some kind of really tragic backstory, and that leaks through every now and then, and you feel sympathy for Rocket Raccoon. He isn't just the wacky guy who says the wacky things and has the one-liner before he gets murdered.
See, the problem here is that Guardians, whether you like Guardians of the Galaxy or not, I think the majority of people do. They find it charming and funny and clever. That exudes in those areas, and the seriousness of the plot often falls to the wayside. In this, you can make a clever, dark, gritty Star Trek sci-fi kind of, spy thing, but in order to do that, you need to have really sophisticated and smart writing.
Mm-hmm.
And that's their crutch, is that all they could think of is revenge and superweapon, two overplayed plot points, and that's it.
It's a redemption story. It's about second chances, and it's an action movie.
And then their crutch is to try and make it funny, but that's not what they excel at. The writing of this excels at nothing in particular.
Yes.
And they're trying to do many different things, and that is the recipe for a mess.
A mess is the perfect word for this. It's a mess.
If that doesn't excite you as a Star Trek fan, that you're in the absolute crux of everything that is Star Trek, I don't know what will.
And it's just something like where someone just reads this and goes, this is a mess. But when you have a low intellect, dim-witted dictator running the show, you don't stand up and go, this is a mess. This is dumb. He says, this is cool. Because everyone thinks Phillip Georgo as the Empress of Space is awesome because people think Michelle Yeoh is awesome. And Michelle Yeoh
is awesome.
As a person
but
is awesome.
Nobody thinks that Space Hitler is awesome.
No, I don't care about her character.
No.
One bit. I don't sympathize with her character one bit. She's good as a background character. That's all. So the godsend just vaporizes people?
It just makes every planet in the universe go on fire.
Oh.
That's literally what it does.
Go on literally on fire?
It burns everything. It spreads like a virus between planet to planet. It just burns everything.
So it's like the ultimate super weapon.
It's like the ultimate super weapon.
There's no super weapon.
It's a super weapon. That's ever a super weapon.
Okay. Well, if those ain't stakes, I don't know what are.
Do you ever see Star Trek coming back? Ever? Ever? 10, 20, 30, 40 years from now? Or is it just dead?
The likelihood of it being dead far outweighs the likelihood of it coming back on a quality level. There is talent out there that could do it, I think. So the possibility exists. You just have to have a major corporate structure change. Paramount has to sell it to like some other streaming service that will lovingly create a new series without dredging up.
It'll fail to get an audience and it will die because
Who knows?
Because apparently, even though we hate it, maybe this has a huge audience that we just don't know.
There's a
and it works for
generational
people.
change.
I don't know.
There's a generational change at work too, which is the big thing. Is old guys like us that grew up on TOS, TNG, DS9, VOY, ENT. We are the dinosaurs, and then the new generation of hip Gen Xers or Zoomers or whatever the hell you want to call them, who like terrible content.
Live from Starfleet Academy, this is the Starfleet Academy set in Toronto.
For some reason, who don't have the patience to sit through a story that is about people talking without snap zooms and fighting.
I know all these people. I am working with all these people. These people are great.
They are the new generation, and
I don't know that people can believe in a universe as hopeful as classic Star Trek is anymore. I think we're past that.
you know, that's a 1960s product.
Yes.
You know. But there could be a sea change. There could be a change in the cultural zeitgeist. I don't know, Rich. I don't know. It's always good to remain positive. And to me, a 13% Rotten Tomatoes score on this may send a small but important message to anyone who's writing these checks. Because the hope of Terry Matalas returning to showrun Star Trek Legacy, I think, has all but faded.
Yeah. I think some major things have to change.
If people are watching this and enjoying it, and they really, actually, truly love it, great. And Paramount Plus is making money producing these shows. People are working, crew people, scenic artists, actors. You know, if it's a win-win for all of them, and we just don't enjoy it, then I'm also fine with that. I would be very happy before I die to see a Star Trek series about a Starfleet spaceship that goes out into space and they encounter problems and discuss them, how to solve them.
Don't hold your breath.
I know.
On the other hand, you can always go back and watch old episodes of TNG. That's all you're gonna get.
I know.
That's all you're gonna get.
That's where we always come back to. But I wanted to watch this and kind of see what it was about. I kind of had a feeling it wasn't as dumb as I was expecting. I was expecting.
How could you imagine this? How could you possibly imagine this being any dumber?
It's
the most bare bones of there's a super weapon. We've got to get the super weapon. Here's the bad guy. He wants revenge. It's hard to talk about this because that is all there is to that.
I think I was expecting the characters to be a little more dumber.
How are they? There's nothing to these. I hate these characters because there's nothing to them.
Do you remember Yum Yum?
After we are done breaking and entering, would you like to join me in making Leland scream? Yum yum.
She was insulting, but these characters aren't.
There was no Yum Yum lines, so
No, but there's just cringe attempts at humor that fail.
Look, let's just break the plate, all right?